And let me welcome you to our monthly deep dive from Entrepreneurs Forever. I'm Deborah Gallant. I am the Senior Program Manager for Entrepreneurs Forever. Um, and I created this program actually when I first started at the organization almost 4 years ago to dive into stuff that maybe isn't happening in your regular peer group or can be supplemental information. And this year, I've asked our facilitators from our peer groups to present a topic that they think is important. And that's how Terry, who has his own business, Boss Consulting, and has been one of our longest time facilitators. Notice I didn't say oldest, longest time facilitators. And he wanted to present this one about planning. Now, it's not as sexy as, make $1 million on Google this week, but it's so important. And by the way, the people who tell you that you can make $1 million on Google this week, they're lying anyway. So um, we're gonna run the webinar. There's a fair amount of participation, so we hope a few more people will be joining us. And if not, you're going to hear from a lot from us, and we're going to be calling on you as well. And Terry is going to drive, but let me start sharing my screen and
Mhm.
get us kicked off.
All right.
Oh,
Yep. Someone else popping in.
yeah.
Well, Jerry, you're getting a whole bunch of me in the last couple weeks.
All right. Terry, can you confirm you're seeing my screen?
I am seeing your screen.
Fantastic. So you are at an Entrepreneurs Forever deep dive. This one's called Planning Backwards for Success, and Terry will explain what that means in a minute. Here's what we're going to try to get done in the hour and a half or so, more or less, that we're going to have together. I'm going to tell you about Entrepreneurs Forever. We'd love to have you introduce yourself, tell us who you are if you haven't done that already. We'll have the presentation, and with Terry, it'll be a lot of Q&A and then some sharing and open discussion. And at the very end, we turn the recording off so that if you want to dive into some specific issues or problems, and I know that when Katie McMahon, our VP of programming, started advertising this event, she said, "This is your opportunity to ask Terry anything." So if you have a thing that you've brought to ask Terry and it's not exactly on topic, feel free to save it till the end. Okay, that's what we're doing here today. Let me just finish my part. If you have specific thoughts or questions or things that you wanted to talk about, and you can type it into the chat. Terry would love to know if you have, oh, I haven't done a business plan in 10 years, or I've never done a business plan, or whatever you want to say about this. You're welcome to put that in the chat and then we can read it. I think most of you know who Entrepreneurs Forever is, what we're all about, but we are a nonprofit out of Pittsburgh with a mission to empower all small business owners to grow thriving businesses, to support their families and their communities. And we do that mostly with peer groups. I used to wait until the end to talk about what next month's program was, and then I found out I never came back and told everyone. So I started doing it sooner. Next month, I'll be the presenter, and I'm doing one on passive income streams. So if you feel like you're working too hard for every dollar, this is going to help you think creatively about the assets that you have and your business has. That I'm not sure it's in like this icon that it's going to rain money, but you never know. It could. And I hope you'll join me. And that's Monday, July 13th. And then today's topic is planning backwards. And Terry is going to explain to us what he means. But Terry, do you want to just introduce yourself and then introduce the topic? And then I'll say what I said at the beginning, which some of you might have missed, which is Terry loves to see people's faces. So even if you're in a car like Yvette seems to be, we love to see you. We love to be able to interact with you and talk to you. Thank you so much, Motley Muse, um, because it just makes it way more interesting for all of us. So, Terry, you're on.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for taking part of your afternoon and evening to come and be part of this. I've been with Entrepreneurs since back in the days when it was the Management Foundation, helping business owners get together with other business owners and get out of your own head, uh, provide options to think about things differently. Uh, the human side of supporting business owners. That's where my specialty has always been. I'm not the spreadsheet guy. Uh, my specialty is the mindset that we all carry with us. I'm a small business owner as well, so I'm fighting the fight every month, finding clients, doing the work, paying the taxes, doing the payroll, all those fun things that we hate to do, but we need to do to stay in business. So uh, hopefully that keeps me up to date by going through all of that and makes everything I share with you as relevant as possible. Uh, in terms of working with entrepreneurs, the whole concept of planning backwards uh, is something that has been really helpful because right now, a lot of us are getting by. You're making it through the week, the month, the quarter. Sometimes I ask people about looking at their year, and that's just too scary. Can't handle it. I got to get through the week. I got an electric bill to pay. Eventually, when you start putting things into place, those short-term survival mechanisms start being able to relax and move farther out. And really, the success comes in business. The farther out you can look and the farther out you can plan. Now, we live in pretty unusual times, pretty volatile times for business. It used to be a standard that businesses had a 5-year plan. That doesn't really work anymore. A lot of things happen in 5 years. Go back and look at what you were doing 5 years from now. It won't even come close to what you're doing now. 3 years is about the maximum I can confidently say it's worth planning for. And in that time frame, allowing a lot of space and grace and the ability to trade options when something isn't working for you. Just like when we're talking about numbers, when you look at your books and your numbers say, hey, this product, it's sitting on the shelf for a year and I'm not selling anything. Why am I doing this? You look at your numbers and it says, hey, I've had the service on my website and no one has ever hired me for it. Why is it still on my website? And I see a nodding head there. And what happens is it becomes our normal and it clogs up our bandwidth and it takes up the time and the energy that we could be putting towards other things. Long term, it can be scary, but you can break things down into more manageable steps. Um, if you start looking at 3 years, most people will plan three enormous leaps to try to achieve in 3 years. Well, you're setting yourself up for disappointment there. And we hate disappointment. It just crushes us when we don't meet our own goals. All those inner voices start telling us all the things that we don't want to hear. But if you look at it differently, if you look at it already being there, in 3 years, I want to have, I want to own 40 apartments and I want to be able to manage some and sell some. I want to be able to leave some to my kids. Okay, that's a that's a big goal. So if I take three great big enormous jumps and I say, well, there's actually 36 months in those 3 years. What if I broke it down into 36 things that I could do to work towards that goal? Well, all of a sudden, that doesn't seem as scary. It seems a lot more achievable. And it's actually 144 weeks. Huh. It's even less scary now. There's a lot of different things I can do, one thing a week, as long as they add up and get me towards the goal. And this is a filtering mechanism, actually. You can actually take these items and look at them. the thing I'm doing this week or the thing I'm going to stop doing this week, does it get me one step closer or does it get me a step farther away? If it gets me a step farther away, why am I doing it? Uh, don't immediately say no to it. It could be something that's an investment that'll bring bigger returns or more options for you, but consider it. Use the filtering mechanism to say, does this help me? Does this help me get to my goal, or is it a tangent? Is it a waste of my time, a waste of my energy? Consistency is boring and really successful. I hate to say it, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it'll pay the bills. And it'll also be part of that filtering mechanism that if I do this week after week, I'm going to get what I want. And if I start getting consistent results, I'm going to feel supported. I'm going to feel less disappointed, more energized to go into the work. Um, Normal is exactly what we make it. We are the builders of normal. We get to stack up all the Legos any way we want to stack them up. Normal can be a wall that we can hide behind, or it can be a ramp that's going to take us somewhere. The question you have to ask yourself when you take a real good look at your normal is who built it? Is it the version of you from 10 years ago, 5 years ago? Is it the version of you now? Or is it your future self that can look back and say, this is what I needed to make this happen? A lot of times, our business Legos and our life Legos are stacked up by the old version of ourselves that wants to protect us and keep us safe. And risk and taking a chance and trying new things doesn't really work in that world. So,
Can you give me an example?
yeah, if you have had a bad relationship with money, if you've had bad business experiences, you're going to try to set a level that you won't drop below. And you're maintaining that level. If I need to bring in 3,000 a month to just meet the bills, okay, that's safe. That's normal. I can stretch and try for four. I got to try something new. I got to go visit new clients that I've never talked to before. That's scary. That's going to take resources. Yeah, I'm good here. I'm making it. So you might not make that extra chance, that extra jump to go forward. There is a lot of PTSD in business, but I make the S a dollar sign because of the way we have our relationship with money built into it. The older version of ourself has all the experiences and tries to keep us safe from loss, from disappointment, from fear. Our current self has the opportunity to look back and understand the past. And if we look at who we need to be and want to be, want is the more critical word, who we want to be for that business owner who is at the level we choose to grow to, you can see a pattern. You can notice things. If I want to get here, I have to do more sales. Well, I'm an introvert and I don't like talking to people on the phone and it makes me nervous and I mix my words up. Well, then if I were out here looking back, I would say that's when I made the decision to hire someone to do sales so that I can concentrate on doing what I do best. So trying to see where your decisions came from and when they got locked in place, that's part of figuring it out along the way.
Hmm.
Deborah, if you want to pop up the slides there too, I can take us
Oh,
through there as
I
well.
thought you wanted to present them. I can present them easily. Hold on.
Okay, thank you. I would appreciate that help.
Yeah, let me just grab them. Hold on one sec.
Mhm.
Does anybody have a reaction to anything you've been hearing?
This is helping me. It's something I've known, but hearing you with the authority telling me to do it, it's making me want to do it. So I just sat here and thought about what is my 3-year goal. And then when we're done with this conference, I'm going to go on ChatGPT and see if it can help me come up with the timeline.
Yeah, and nowadays we have our virtual assistants that can help us with all of that. The so yeah, that's a good start. Sometimes getting out of our own head any way we can do it, whether it's in a group of other business owners or if that first step along those 144 weeks is a chat GPT conversation, it's progress. All right. Let's go on to slide 2 there. So here's the question that comes to mind. You know, we all have that dream, the goal that we want. And if you already had your business thriving the way you wanted it to, and you thriving along with it, not working 90 hours a week, what would you have needed to believe to take the steps to get to that goal for your business? Or what would have to change in what you believe about your business now to let you get on that road?
Getting the customer to commit and pay.
Okay. So I think, well, I think I know the answer to this, but do you have an onboarding process that the customer goes through, or do you just build it by relationship by relationship?
I think a mixture of both.
Okay. Perfectly valid answer. How about you, Scott or Jerry? What do you think you'd have to change what you believe about your business to be able to get to that big goal that you want?
Yeah, create more of a team in some ways, maybe a little more hands off and more um, management,
Okay.
manage the managers.
Mhm. That way you're building a generator where the business can operate and create wealth and create outcomes without you touching every single detail. Yvette, we haven't heard from you yet.
Scott unmuted too.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just going
sorry,
to
Scott,
say
go ahead. I
that,
missed that.
and yes, Terry, we have crossed paths. It's been a while since I've run into you, but it is me. And
Okay.
probably, I hate to be sold to personally, which bleeds over into my process, but I need to work on uh, getting the client to recognize the importance of looking at things and making a decision. I don't care if you don't do it, but make some decisions and move on. It's that important.
Okay. What would what could you alter that would make it easier for the clients to say yes to you?
Uh, I can't think of a better way to say it because it's not exactly what I mean, but to be slightly more salesy,
Hmm.
to try and motivate them um, to see the importance of it, not so much to get them to sign a particular contract, but it's like, hey, let's discuss this. Let's figure out what works for you. If it doesn't, that's fine. We can put it to bed. because my
Mhm.
world, nothing is typically all that urgent. So people get into kind of the old analysis paralysis, or they get confused. And so it's a weird world.
I'll share a thought with you because there was a time in my life when numbers terrified me. And I will admit that I've worked on that a lot, but every now and again I'll have what I call a scarcity spasm, and I'll go back to it. And I got to remind myself that, no, you can actually do that. A weird trick that I picked up, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know why it works. It's something with human psychology. If I were to present someone a consulting contract and say, my fee is $300 an hour, and if I stop there and wait, because in some way internally I'm waiting for them to judge me, the last thing they were thinking about was that number. If I were to say, my fee is $300 an hour, and I can't wait to start working with you. When can we start? The last thing they're thinking about is not the money. And I learned it from a guy that was a really successful old school salesman. And I got to say, it was one of the things that helped me break out of that sales trap that I would find myself in. So I'll pass that one on to you as well.
Scott, you're selling life insurance, right?
It's more overall planning,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
to which
I've
life
heard
insurance can be a part of it.
I've
But
heard that the same complaint from many people in your space because people just feel paralyzed and they really don't know what to do. It's very hard to create that urgency. So I don't know if it's any relief, but you're not alone.
yeah, that much I did know. And the crazy thing is, most of the time, the client never writes us a check or never writes me a check. There's not a fee for me. It all comes through the whatever they do. And people also get confused easily, don't understand this world.
Yes.
So it's very easy for them to just pull back into their turtle shell and
Mm.
think, it'll work out somehow.
Somehow, if I'll go right back in my shell because it's more comfortable there.
Yep.
It's exactly what we're talking about, keeping the normal normal. Uh, Yvette, we haven't heard from you yet. What is your small business or large business, and what would you want to change a belief on that would help you get to that big goal that you have?
My business is called Love Travels Imports, and we curate, retail, and produce ethically artisan handmade accessories, home decor, and gift items.
Hmm.
So, we've been doing this work for about 12 years now, and it, I've been thinking about what you said in terms of beliefs. Um, I have, I believe in what I'm doing. The What I would like the result would be, of course, higher revenue, which would um, allow me to hire um, more people and have those people continue to spread the um, the mission, if you will, which is to provide a viable living for the different artisan groups that we work with, in addition to a viable living for those people working within the business.
What kind of a relationship do you have with delegation?
Um, oh, I can delegate. The issue,
Okay.
yeah, no, the issue is consistent revenue stream because mostly at this point I have contractors that work for me, because I believe that if I'm going to um, make a commitment to be able to pay people and pay them at a level that they deserve, you've got to have that consistent revenue that's coming in. And so that's where, I have to, so I guess if the belief is that that consistent revenue would be there consistently.
Hmm. Well, is the client base you're currently working with able to uh, buy from you at prices that will support what you want for your business? Or would it be helpful to find a client base that is different than the ones you're currently working with that has more disposable income and could afford to pay a higher rate?
I am in Detroit. And
Okay.
so when you have a population of about less than 700,000 people, and I'm located on one of what's considered the better commercial corridors, um, and a high percentage of my customers are visitors from out of town. So to
Okay.
answer your question, they are very comfortable with my products. I mean, the pricing. The issue is increasing and expanding beyond this particular area. And so having the ability to do that, I think, is what's really needed. And because I've been doing a lot of the things myself, I haven't necessarily had the bandwidth
Right.
to create some of the things. But that is something that I'm working on, and that's something that I systematically have been doing. And so, with the thought of looking at that 3-year target, if you will, that,
Mm-hmm.
at that particular point, all these things will be in place and generating, and generating, um, those revenues, because the products are such that people, um, I don't really have a problem selling them when I have that audience, that's a conscientious consumer.
Yes.
Um, I don't have a problem in terms of them and the price point of the products. It's just being where more of them are.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, volume, volume, volume. Uh, all right. Well, Deborah, let's pop over to the next slide if we can, please. All right. Um, I talked a little bit about some of the fears we face in moving forward as we got started here. Most of us are looking at the next bill, the next deadline, the next fire to put out. Sometimes we're really good at putting out fires, so we have to be careful that we don't set things on fire so that we can deal with them more easily. Uh, our past version of ourselves, that narrow focus that kept us going, it's not a flaw. It can actually be used as a superpower. That survival mode is a part of you, and trusting what it notices, trusting your gut in business, whether it's with customers, with contractors, those skills go a long way. When you move into planning mode, it's going past the week, going past the month, and you start having to look at having to approach your expectations differently. Uh, when you have uncommunicated expectations with yourself, with vendors, with customers, they can never be met. because you've never put them out there in the world. The uncommunicated expectations lead to those disappointments that'll cut your drive down, make you not want to work towards that goal because it might feel like it's just more work. When you start lengthening that view, when you start taking a wider look at what do you want, what do you really want to have, having clear expectations that are communicated outward really help you. In your network of family, friends, business owners, acquaintances, people will start to say, oh, Yvette needs another storefront. Uh, I know of one that's not on the market yet. We should tell her about that. Um, Scott finds out about someone just had a brand new baby. What a wonderful time to talk about a life insurance policy. I saw Mr. Carter, James, joined us here. Someone opened their business and they're a week in and they're trying to figure out all the receipts in their shoebox. What a wonderful time to call an accountant, a bookkeeper, to get the job done. And the people that you know can help you by referring people that they've already known and perhaps built some trust with as well. When you go from an uncommunicated expectation to a communicated expectation, it changes things. It adds a level of responsibility to meet that goal, to meet that request for yourself. It adds a level of accountability internally that, hey, I actually put this out there. Now I really want to put some work into it. Scott talked about a team. That was a perfect analogy for moving forward with the old version of yourself, the current version, and the business owner that you want to be in the future, looking back on the success that you've built. All of those different skill sets and perceptions can be used to move the business forward. You can become part of your own best team that way, along with your insurance guy, your bookkeeper, your marketing person, the seamstress that makes you look good when you go to meetings as well. Call out there to Adrian at Motley Muse. All right, Deborah, let's go on to the next one here. So you can start planning the traditional way. Start at your current reality. Figure out the projects cautiously. What can I manage? And that can become a trap for us because we get into our normal and our normal becomes a container. You'll start hearing yourself say, I only have so many hours in the day. It's just me. I'm only human. I don't have enough in me to do that. A lot of that is your current and past self teaming up, trying to keep yourself safe. You'll start having the patterns, those phrases that come up. And I've seen it over and over again from business owners. If I don't have time for X, I don't have time for Y. Back to having those products and services on your website that you don't do. There's something that you absolutely hate to do. It's a thing that you hate to ship or sell, or it's a class that you don't want to teach, or it's a project that you don't think you're going to get enough out of it taking it on. But we still do those things, and it takes up our time and it takes up all the bandwidth we have that we could be using to move forward with other things. But they're difficult to let go of because we may have had them since we started the company. Our competitor has it on their website, so we absolutely have to have it on our website. The new you, looking back, would be asking the question, why did I leave? Why did I do that for so long? Why did I hold on to that so long? There may have been a time when doing that work or selling that product paid the bills, kept the lights on for you. And we hold on to that. That was a success. We got something meaningful out of that. But that's where some of the change has to come and letting go of some of those anchors and moving towards a new version, a new definition of success. So when you're looking at the work you're currently doing, the products that you're currently selling, what is something that is, I'm going to call it a trade-in, because we don't want to negate the things that got us where we are. But what is a trade-in that you could take it out of your week, take it out of your month to allow you time to do something better for the long term of your business? So it's a trade-in. I'm going to take this thing out and put that new thing in that's going to build to those 144 steps to get where I want to be. What would be something that you want to take out of your, I see. Adrian, you have your hand up. Oh, you're on mute.
I have an example. I recently gave up social media in all its forms, and instead, the 4 to 5 hours a day I was spending on it, I am now on platforms such as Amazon and Pocket FM, selling products through their platform and their customers. And it's worked out because Pocket FM is now paying me 8 cents a letter, 8 cents a word for my stories, their audiobook series that I had already created a long time ago. So it's repurposing content, like you said earlier. And I noticed within the past 3 days, the amount of people that went from those platforms onto my website tripled.
Nice. You
Well
got you
done.
got you got positive feedback for your effort. Yeah.
Yes, I had last night 2 separate ladies write me emails asking me for private one-on-one sewing classes. It usually I only get those when I was doing social media. I'd only get those emails like once every other month.
Nice. That's a good outcome. Uh, Scott, Jerry, James, Latoya, what's something that is in your schedule that you could trade in for something new that would help you get farther along the path for your business?
James has a hand raised.
Go for it.
We've already enacted it. We basically traded, for us, we were putting together or looking at CRMs for our business. And instead of pursuing that, having the understanding that we would have to spend time going through an onboarding process, getting the software and integrating all of our information into the new CRM. Um, we basically chose to customize our own, finding a guy that uses some AI tools to build a CRM. So we are a part of the building process, making our comments and everything as we go along. And during that process, we're also learning the software and having an opinion on how that software moves forward for us, not just for a general public.
That's a great example, James. And the great part about that is by you being a part of that process, it's a tailored fit so that you're not
Mhm.
using 10% of it. And you're actually saving a lot of time by learning the process to use it so that day one you're going to be ready to jump into it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. That's an A plus. Uh, Yvette, Scott, Jerry, Latoya, what's something that's hanging out in your current business bandwidth that you would trade in for something new to move you forward?
Might require some thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here like going through things in my head. I'm not I'm not sure
Okay.
what I would trade in.
That is actually a valid answer because sometimes it does take some consideration. We don't want to let go of the wrong thing. All right, let's pop over to the next slide, please. So planning backwards is my very basic way of saying a heuristic review, um, a mental shortcut to be able to look at the destination from the perspective of already being there. Uh, Checking to see if the shortcut we took was actually just making us feel better or if it actually provided a real result. And the part I love about doing planning is that I like to plan in more of a circle pattern so that it's an ecosystem that you keep revisiting different parts of it. We have assumptions. Uh, I have to do this. I can't do that. Going through the review of assumptions, it it brings things to the surface that we may have been taking for granted. I can't get off of social media. Everyone has to be on social media. I can't hire a software designer. Software designers are too expensive, aren't they? All those different things come up for us. And finding the gap between where we are and where we want to
Oops.
be,
Sorry.
no worries. That's where the magic happens, is in that gap, because there's some missing piece. And using that focus part of our mind that we have developed all the way up through our business, focusing on those gaps will really help us take the next steps forward. When you keep coming around and checking on your old beliefs, checking on yesterday's story, um, that's another way to catch the stealthy part that's in the background, the sabotage that can be happening. We don't know how to do something. We don't say anything about it. We never put out an expectation that would like to learn about it, do something about it, have someone do it for us. We stay stuck in that circle. We don't get to move into a different circle at that point. So when you're looking at the current state of things, you probably have 5, 10, 15 things that are working just great, but they're not going any farther. But you see other companies that are out there, they might be having success in the same industry, maybe in the same city. What's the gap that you see that's holding your company back? That one missing rung of the ladder that would help you get on track to your growth. What's the gap that you need to cross to get to that destination where you're as successful as you want your business to be?
Hiring a sales representative that actually does the job so I can focus on the business.
All right. We have this recorded, so we got you saying it out loud. And once that gap was filled, what would that allow you to do?
I could sew more and actually make the product. I'd have more time to focus on making a quality product instead of sitting in front of a computer.
All right. So actually doing the real stuff and working on the business. All
Yes.
right. Okay. Anybody else? What's the gap that you're facing? What's the missing rung that you need to get past so that you can get towards that goal that you have for your business and your life? Mm.
For us, in this, and I'll kind of repeat that statement about the CRM. It's building the templates behind it and um, all the normal workflows that you need to put into that software that'll allow it to go a lot faster in your processes. And I mean, that is a big part of that, that kind of, what is it, that stopgap or that, that um, bubble in the line, as it were.
Mm. All right. James, I'm sorry, Jerry, I saw you added into the chat there, getting out of your own way. Say more words about that. Mm. Jerry might be on daddy duty. He has a little one over there. We'll let him marinate on that one for a little bit. Uh, let's go on to the next slide. So, oh wait, we went by number 5, number fast for the worksheet, didn't we?
I put the worksheet
Oh,
in the
okay.
chat. Everyone
All
has
right.
it.
So there's a worksheet in the chat for you guys to download. I'm sure we'll be able to send it out in a follow-up afterwards as well. But some steps that you can go through that you can stick it up on a wall, put it on the side of your desk, and in simple, plain language that no one else ever needs to see. Just write down and answer those questions and go back and revisit it. It's something it's made to look at over and over again and look back on from different times. So make sure that you make a few minutes to take a peek at that as you're going through your thought processes about what can be changed to get to the goal that you want to be looking back from.
It says you have to sign in to access that.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I'll fix that during the conversation. I'll fix the document, make sure it gets to you the right way.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. All right, let's pop over. So I think we're on the right one now. About the resisting, let's go back to that one. There we are. Uh, much to the point of what Jerry said, getting out of our own way. I've had to do it multiple times. I'm sure I'm still going to have to do it in other ways. Uh, sometimes it's that identity hasn't caught up with who we're becoming. Uh, we we have to deal with change. We have to deal with disappointment. All of it sucks, but it's what we have to work through as business owners. And working through that stuff is why a lot of other people don't make it as business owners. But all of you have been in it for a while, so you've made it. When when the new goal is a stretch, when it's something that you haven't done, your parents haven't done, no one on your street has done before, things really start to feel foreign. You feel like you don't belong. Uh, in my own life, I remember saying phrases like, people like me don't have things like that. I've caught myself saying things like, I don't deserve that, or I wouldn't know what to do with it if I had it. So that's when that old part of yourself is being protective. It is popping up to say, "Whoa, that's going to hurt. Let's keep Terry safe and not let him try that." The short-term anxiety that could come up with that narrows your lens, goes back into that survival mode. But in that gap of who you of from where you are to who you're becoming, there's a lot of psychology in there. Uh, our support network is in there. Our friends, our family, all the people that have never done the things that we do. How many times have you had to explain what you do for a living to family and friends and they really don't get it? They don't get that you actually earn a paycheck without having a job that you go to every day and punch a clock and walk through a door somewhere. The we really have to be careful about the self-sabotage at that part because it can happen to make us feel safe. Our support networks don't support us well when we're not like them anymore. I remember when after my wife and I bought our really nice house together, I drove back to my old neighborhood to go to a community meeting. Still had my fingers in, sharing everything I could share to help with the gardens and everything else. And I bought myself a Mercedes. I was really damn proud of the fact that I bought myself a Mercedes. And I drove it to the meeting. And I went to the meeting and I had my blue jeans on and my old flannel shirt. And, we had a great meeting and talked about things to do to help people enjoy the community gardens more. And I walked outside to go home. And people were standing on the sidewalk outside the community center with their hands on their hips and looking at me. And one of the people that I had volunteered with for years yelled over to me, "Oh, yeah, go home. Go get in your great big car and go away." And oh man, that was a knife in the heart right there. All the success that I wanted for myself, all the success I worked for, I achieved a lot of it. But all my old friends and neighbors didn't see it the same way. Uh, so there are some sacrifices when you start to take your business farther and grow more. More than just accounting and taxes and payroll, there's the things that you'll face as a business owner to be able to achieve the goals that you want. The I'm trying to remember how to actually phrase this. When you start looking back at success from where you want to be and thinking about what you would need to put in place from where you are now, it can really change your perspective. And there are some experiments that you can do that would help you to see what it's going to be like, to see what it's going to feel like when you get to those places where everything is running great. You've delegated, you've hired people, you're managing more than you're doing at that point. There was a great example that someone shared with me. They would save up their bus fare, go downtown, and go over to the Frick Building because they had a really nice Starbucks in the Frick Building. And that's where the people from city government and the people with the URA and all the other people would come over and grab their coffee. And they would put on their best clothes and they would go down and they would get the smallest pastry and a really nice coffee. And they would sit there and look at that world that they weren't a part of yet and see how people interacted, how they talked to each other, how they treated each other, how they engaged with each other. And it was a very interesting, they described it as an out-of-body experience because that wasn't the person they were, but they sure did want to get there one day. The and of course the challenge is you don't have to go to the Oliver building and have coffee, but you do have to figure out what you want and what life is going to be like when you're there as you do those reviews and process things. That goal that you thought was success might not be the success you really want. It may have been the version of success that your old self wanted, but not the success that you want right now. Let's pop over one more slide. So the whole idea of mapping it backwards. You pick up on, we have the gaps, the missing rungs. Pick up that one goal that you've been circling around. Let's call it the someday goal. When I have time, when I'm not tired, when I have money, whenever X happens, I will finally start that. So I'll ask you now, what is the goal that you've been walking around looking at, but you haven't taken the step to start yet?
I've heard success stories of people who are seamstresses who have gotten a client and been able to just have that client and make their costumes for stage and performances, such as Dolly Parton. She pays her guy $120,000 a year to make all of her clothing. If I could have 5 clients that have that kind of money, that would be very comfortable because then it's an easy life.
Less personalities to manage,
Yeah,
and thankfully more money to manage.
yeah.
Well, how would you get in contact with clients like that to let them know what you do and what you could do for them?
I went to a music festival and I had a really cute costume I made for going on stage. I'm a musician myself. And I just walked around and tried to bump into the artists when they would be off stage and strike a conversation. And then, oh, yeah, I made it. It's really cute. Do you want one? Oh, okay. Here's my phone number. Call me. And
Okay.
I didn't really get any responses, but I think I should do more of that.
Hmm.
Because costumes are fun and I can charge an absorbent amount to do it because it's extra over the top.
So I'm thinking there's a lady named Leah in my old neighborhood. She does a lot of fantastic leather work. And her boyfriend is in a band, and she made a incredible leather purse with all this detailed leather work in it. And she gave it as a gift to one of the other uh, band members' wives. And it showed up on TikTok in a band photo. And then everyone was like, where did you get that?
I did
And
get that. When I talked to the musicians, everybody wanted free merch, which was
okay.
great. But in my experience on that one day I attempted it, it didn't lead to further work.
Hmm. Okay.
And then I
Um,
thought maybe my prices were too high. But I was charging $100 for a pair of jeans, and I was charging $50 for a shirt and $100 for a dress. So I don't think
Those
my
those
price.
prices are not that high. Terry, might I suggest that Adrian's
yes,
dilemma would be a great thing to talk about once we stop the recording so we can dive in with her. Let's
true.
finish the presentation and then we still have 20 minutes, half an hour to talk.
All right, can do. No worries. Okay, who else has a goal that you've been circling around, but you haven't decided to take the first step towards it yet? Aha, I hear chuckling.
You don't want to tell us more, James?
I do actually. Uh, it's I guess it's a I don't know, a dilemma in my mind to some degree. Um, I've been banting going, going through to get a bookkeeping certification, um, which, is just another couple letters on the name in my mind, but I think it's, something that will be good for the industry. Um, the only thing, I guess one of the two reasons I haven't gone back to do it is my ego keeps telling me, well, you have a 4-year degree. You don't need that. But from a marketing standpoint, it wouldn't be bad. So it's just something I just need to kind of buckle down and get done.
Hmm. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, Jerry, Yvette, anything that you've been circling around, thinking about over and over again, but you haven't taken the first step to get there?
Um, I mean, I've been starting the thoughts on totally revamping things. Um, but step by step, um, I think it's going to take a little longer to think about it than just jump right in. Uh, so that's what's, trying to clean things up before I do more.
Okay. Well, it never hurts to have good processes and good systems in place. No matter what you're going to do with your business, that'll always help you move forward.
Yeah. Um, I've been doing a little bit of research, but haven't pulled the trigger on a CRM system.
All right. Well, James Carter knows a guy, and he might be able to connect you with that.
Absolutely.
Uh, is that Mike that does that? Michael Klein's doing that for you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that Michael Klein is part of the whole peer-to-peer network of all these business owners that are growing together, learning together, and supporting each other. So, uh, and he's part of the Entrepreneurs Forever network as well.
Yeah,
So,
and honestly, our members all have access to each other. All you have to do is go into the directory and look for them.
mhm. But I'm not sure Yvette's in there, such as where she
No,
is.
Yvette's from Detroit. Aren't you in our
Oh,
Detroit group?
Yes.
oh,
Oh,
good deal.
awesome.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right then.
All right. Should we?
And sorry, yeah, Deborah.
I just wondered if you wanted to bring us to a conclusion here.
Okay. So I do want to do one other mental trick for you. This is an example of what the worksheet looks like that you see on your screen. Easy steps. Name the outcome. Stand at the finish line and look back and see what would the path look like to get there. Walk it back one decision at a time, the things that had to be put in place to get to that goal. And at each step, what would you have to believe differently to make that step and make that choice? Choice is a very powerful word,
Mhm.
and want is a very powerful word. One of the words we use to keep ourselves safe as a business owner is need. It needs to be perfect before I do it. It needs to be quieter. I need to have more money. Need is a very interesting word. It can communicate something that is really, really a need, or it can be a safety barrier that you hide behind. when I talk to entrepreneurs, especially early stage business owners, I ask them questions about what do they want? And they answer me with what they say they need. And I'll give them a little exercise. I'll say, okay, I want you to say that to me again. And I want you to tell me, I choose to open a cupcake delivery business. I want to open a cupcake delivery business. And I watch this happen. Uh, Because the connotation of want and I choose, that holds a lot more weight than I need. I need is a get out of jail free card because you can always say, oh, I needed that and I didn't get it. The market needed to be different. I needed to have a perfect label for my product, and well, the label wasn't perfect, so I didn't get what I needed. But when you start looking at things in terms of I want and I choose, it really switches it up. And when you can hear it in your own voice and you say it out loud, it'll make you rethink things. It'll maybe make your choices a little different. Um, yeah, lean into that process of experimenting with I want and I choose. Um, you'll learn a lot in that. What is something that you've been saying that you need for your business? And you could say, I want, and see how you feel when you say it. If anybody wants to say it in the group here, glad to have it happen. Okay. It is something that you need to marinate on and take a good long look at. But always come back to the map, always come back to the worksheet. It can sit on the side of your desk and just scribble all over it. If it has coffee stains on it, all the better. Doubt isn't necessarily a bad thing. Doubt will make you reassess. Doubt will make you reevaluate. Come back to the map and run through it again. I'm a big fan of whiteboards. You can even write these on a whiteboard and you can change them anytime you want to. But the whole thing is you build it, it's yours. No one else's goals are your goals. You get to write whatever you want. And if you want to, Deborah, you can kill the recording and we can go
Well,
open
I mean,
session.
I just want to finish the uh, deck, and then
Oh,
we
sorry.
can
I
stuff
thought we hit
over.
the last one. My mistake. I went ahead of myself. I threw myself with the worksheet there. Uh, like I was mentioning, on repeat, uh, rinse and repeat as necessary. Um, Fridays are a great time to reassess. The end of the month is a great time to reassess. You can get into a pattern where it's like when you look at your books. I lost money, I made money, where did it go? What am I going to do different? It's exactly the same investment that you're going to make into your business with time, effort, and choices. So even quarterly, when you're paying your quarterly taxes, what another great time to sit down and do a review. You'll already have a prompt on your calendar that you can use. All right, and the first step, think of one thing that you can do. Think of that step one to those 144 steps. Once you decide on what you want your outcome to be, and then commit to it and see if you can take a first step by Friday. Make your first move. All right. That's pretty much the education I wanted to throw at you, and it is a whole lot to digest. But
Thank you, Terry. I
I
am going to stop the recording.
mhm.